AITA for telling my birth sister that she does not have the right to make demands. I, 27F, was given up for adoption at birth by my birth parents. I was adopted into a family where my parents had already adopted my older sister Grace, 29F, and 3 years after me, they also adopted my younger sister Cassie, 24F. So getting some details/info out of the way before I continue, both my sisters were given their first names by their biological mothers/families. My parents kept the original first names for both because they felt it was important to allow them that connection to their biological families. I was not given a name by my birth parents. My parents also kept some items from my sister's birth families, but nothing was left with/for me, so I didn't have that growing up. Anyway, about 5 years ago, I learned that I had a birth sister, 25F, who was 2 years younger than me. So I was 22 and she was 20 when she reached out. She had been told all about me from day one. She knew I existed, they called me her sister, they made up this story that I was basically stolen by my parents and they hadn't wanted to give me up. So when she reached out she intended to shine a light on the truth and save me from those people. I told her I wasn't interested in a relationship and that I didn't believe her parents' story. She ended up with a different one from her maternal grandparents, but chose to believe her parents. I would believe her grandparents' version a lot more. She begged me to have a relationship with her. She said she always wanted her sister in her life and pleaded with me for days about not shutting out the relationship. I told her I really wasn't interested in the relationship she was seeking and she said she would take anything, even very occasional DMs, to each other. In the last year, she has been insufferable and she has brought up my parents changing my name even though I was never given a name by hers, and I have told her this. She dismisses the fact that my parents didn't name 2/3 of us because they kept the original names and believes they chose not to do the same for me. She also made up this idea that her parents left me with a blanket, etc. I reply to her very infrequently because she gets on my nerves and I have told her this. Now I'm pretty much done with her. It started with me posting about a weekend trip with my sisters. Birth sister DM'd me and said I shouldn't say things like that and I need to acknowledge her on social media as my real sister. She told me to do it right away. She sent a bunch of short messages when I said no. She told me I choose other stolen kids over my real flesh and blood. This is when I really snapped and told her she doesn't have the right to make demands and that she is not, in fact, my real sister. I told her I never wanted her in my life and only gave in because of her begging and she still had the nerve to try and demand something from me. She accused me of being evil and cruel to her for speaking the truth. AITA,